I saw the film on Broadway at the Lowe's Theater opening night on a Friday night, and it was mayhem. People were talking to the screen, and I didn't care about the critics. I knew we had a hit. When we had, I think, the biggest opening in September of all time at that point. I had very strong controls over the marketing of the film because that was my background. And they changed the ad. Remember, my ad was beautiful Joan with the picture, Mommy Dearest on it. And they came out with this headline, the biggest mother of them all, and no more wire hangers. And I went berserk. I really went berserk. But when I look back on it, it was stupid of me to do because the picture was already set. But you know, when you make a movie, you become so much a part of it that if anybody tampers with your kid, it's like your teacher, you know, tampering with your kid. You're gonna go after that teacher. Well, I was a little bit overboard to the studio.
Actually, I don't remember the first time that I saw it, but I was very impressed. I thought Faye Dunaway did a marvelous job with it. And I know Joan Crawford was quoted as saying that the only actress that she could ever see playing her in the future, if anyone ever played her, would be Faye Dunaway. And I think Faye was very impressed, you know, that she had said that about her, and this opportunity came her way, and she wanted to do her the best justice that she could.
The picture is a hit. Shh.
I saw it with a real live paying audience. It was a full house, and they loved the movie. It wasn't that they didn't love, they loved the movie.
Oh, Joan, listen to them. They're so happy for you. Oh.
It's not a critic's movie. It's a film audience's movie. The audiences interacted to that film. The audiences related to that film.
I love all of you.
The book I wanted to read very much when it came out. It got a huge amount of attention. It was a huge bestseller, and you hadn't read a book like that, really, about a movie star, especially a movie star that was so created by this myth of like the fan magazines and everything to be this perfect person, and was really pulling the curtain back and showing a monster.
It took a long time for the truth to come out, didn't it?
So when the movie came out, I couldn't wait to see it. You know, I was probably paid the very first day to see it. I remember I saw it in New York, and it was packed. And so I wasn't disappointed in the movie, certainly.
You expect me to ignore my fans. They're life and death to me, baby.
I had no idea about the gay community's attitude towards Mommy Dearest until my wife, who's a photographer and is surrounded by all these extraordinarily talented and great gay guys. So every time they'd meet me, they did Mommy Dearest. Oh my God, you would think the king arrived. And I said, well, what is it? I said, we just love it, we just love it, we just love it. And so I've grown very close to the gay community as kind of like the king of their goddess, Joan Crawford. It warms my heart. I take great pleasure out of it. But I had no idea. I mean, I knew a little bit, but I had no idea how much it resonated with the gay audiences. They just love it.
Movie star manages to have it all. Career, home, and family.
It does touch the gay audience particularly, and I found that when we did an event a few years ago at Town Hall in New York called Mother's Day with Joan, and the place was packed to the rafters, and it was big, huge gay audience. I've never gotten an ovation like that in my life. People were on their feet shouting and screaming. They showed the movie too afterwards. And it really touches the core in the gay audience. I think it has to do with that era, the star thing, the strength of this woman.
I think it's a wonderful thing that it has become a cult film, you know, with a following of gayness and frivolity, because people are still watching it.
I don't think the gay audience identifies with the little girl at all. They identify with the bitchy, drag queen, female impersonator role.
Good evening, Miss Crawford.
She's a movie star, she's a bitch, she dresses well, and she's rich. And this is a drag queen role because it was such exaggerated costumes, the shoulder pads and the eye makeup and everything.
We're ready for you, Miss Crawford.
I'm doing Mommy Dearest as a Broadway show in drag. I'm already working on it. We're already writing the score.
John Epperson, which is my real name. And then there's this character, Lipsinka, that I created. If you've ever seen an old black and white movie, you know that the skin tone on the actresses was very even. So I want that red to disappear. I thought, well, I'll do a show all about Joan Crawford. I'll lip sync the whole thing. And so the show is billed as John Epperson, as Lipsinka, as Joan Crawford. So there's now 3 layers of identity there, if that doesn't complicate matters enough. We put on red pencil, then we put on red lipstick, and now we put on red powder. When I created the character of Lipsinka, I wasn't specifically thinking of Joan Crawford. I was actually more influenced by Lucille Ball and Carol Burnett and a woman named Dolores Gray. But there was that Joan Crawford fascination lurking in the background. And at some point, I became fascinated by specifically Bette Davis and Joan Crawford. Now I look back and I wonder, why was I so drawn to Joan Crawford and to older female Hollywood stars in general? And I think it has a lot to do with being a gay man, because something about them made them seem different than from the rest of the world. And I felt different from the rest of the world being a little gay boy. And voila, after 2 or 3 hours of makeup, Miss Crawford is finally ready to appear before the cameras.
I intend to be buried here in the 20th century.
When the book Mommy Dearest came out, there were people who took sides. They took Christina's side, or they took Miss Crawford's side. What we do know is that she did at least once use her children for publicity when she had them do what seemed to be a scripted radio interview.
This is my daughter, Christina.
Hello, everybody.
And my son, Christopher.
Hello.
Joan Crawford did have fascination with Christmas. She was almost obsessed with Christmas.
And Merry Christmas to you and to all your listeners.
It's so hard for me to play favorites about anything. I'm not sure I have an absolute favorite scene.
Well, I think my favorite shot is the one in the shower where she stands there and the water hits her hairdo and it melts in front of her and she doesn't react, which is so she's beyond the forces of nature, is a great shot. And I had forgotten that shot.
Well, let me think for a moment.
Obviously, the wire hanger thing is the most famous in it.
What's wire hangers doing in this closet?
Apparently, Joan Crawford's mother, I believe, had worked at a dry cleaner's, and that was a low point in their life, and so the idea of a wire hanger in her home when she knew she could afford better was very disturbing to her. But ultimately, what I take away from that scene is Faye Dunaway's decision to play it almost like kabuki theater. She has white cold cream smeared across her face, very white, like a geisha girl. But she also, at one point, assumes the squatting stance of a sumo wrestler. It's just another quirky choice she made that makes the movie so compelling.
Wake up, wake up. Come on, children. Come on, wake up.
What's happening?
Your mother wants you downstairs in the rose garden. Come on, hurry up.
The rose bush, audiences love that scene. I mean, they can't believe their eyes. I don't want that scene cut out. I'm thankful for that scene.
Tina! Bring me the axe!
In this movie, it's so good and flawed that it's perfect.
Don't fuck with me, fellas!
Who hasn't felt like saying that? And, you know, at meetings with studio executives and with people that have power over you, and suddenly you have new power. And I like that scene.
Don't fuck with me, fellas!
No one said fuck in the movies, and that was pretty early to say that. So the shock value of especially Joan Crawford saying it, or Faye Dunaway at the time, was pretty strong.
This ain't my first time at the rodeo. You forget the press I delivered to Pepsi was my power.
You wanted to be worse, actually. It was just their faces. It was just what a great thing it is to say to people that aren't expecting. Especially it was a woman. It was a strong woman. It was a feminist statement.
My favorite scene, it's the big confrontation scene. In spite of the fact that it's slightly campy, when Joan Crawford jumps on top of Christina and you see Christina's panties, it's the most intense scene in the movie. And I also like that scene because it's all about women. There's 4 women in that scene, and they're all freaking out for one reason or another. And there's a wonderful moment where Faye Dunaway, like, practically flips over herself, you know, they're trying to pull her off of Christina, and she does this incredible flip onto her knees. I wonder if she had knee pads on, because it looks like it hurts.
A woman known throughout the world not only as an Academy Award-winning actress.
Faye Dunaway is just a remarkably deep actress, a great actress, and man, she latched onto that part like nobody's business. It's a brilliant performance, it's operatic, it's almost experimental. No one's done it before, and no one can or will do it since.
I'm not acting.
I love Faye Dunaway. I still do like her in movies. I think she is a great actress, and I think she's good in Mommy Dearest.
No, it's not good.
And I know she doesn't want to talk about that movie or anything. And I think she should lighten up about it because she's great in it.
I know.
She becomes Joan Crawford. She channels her in it. When I see a picture of Faye Dunaway now, I think it is Joan Crawford. And I think that Joan Crawford, that isn't her. Who is that woman? I mean, because they almost became, in my mind, mixed up.
I don't know why Faye doesn't want to speak of the film. I can only speculate because of the way the movie was received, or it became a camp film with a cult following, the over-the-top scenes. I thought she did a wonderful job.
We're gonna clean this floor. You and me together. Go.
I've never really sat down to talk to Faye. I'm a huge fan of Faye. I haven't talked about the film. I've heard reports that she kind of disowns this film. I'd like to believe in her heart she loves this movie and she loves the experience, because we all had a good time making it. This was a really happy set. But I think she was hurt by the critics. I think that she needed their support and she wanted their support, and I think every actor or actress does. So I think that hurt her badly, and I think some of the choices she made, I think she would like to have remade some of those choices.
The floor is not clean. Look at it.
She put her own stamp on it, and she really was wonderful in the movie. And I think one of the things that she shouldn't regret is this movie.
They just announced your mother is going to stand in for you until you're well.
I herald the filmmakers, and I herald Faye, and I herald the gay world for keeping it alive, because these things are important, and lest we forget.
Don't be a stranger.
Why was it important for you to be here to talk about this movie? And don't cry. I know you brought your handkerchief. And
I did bring my handkerchief, and I haven't used my handkerchief. One of the things I try to do with my stage show, and one of the reasons I wanted to be here today, is that a lot of drag performers, when they impersonate Joan Crawford, try to do an extreme caricature, who's, you know, always wielding an axe or a wire hanger. I think she was a lot more interesting than that. I think she was a lot more complicated than that. There is always this tension that exists between parent and child, and everything isn't black and white, and I think Frank Perry did a very good job covering the gray area.
I love you, Mommy Dearest.
I love you, Tina, darling.
This movie certainly didn't hurt Joan Crawford's image to me, but my values are a little twisted. No, it almost made me stick up for her in a way.
I'm not ashamed of how I got what I have.
You always take a little bit of artistic license anytime you're doing a biographical film. But I think we captured the authenticity of Joan.
You're aces, Jody.
On your mark. Get set.
This movie has an afterlife that I don't think anybody expected. I can't tell you how many people in restaurants, they know my lines. They know my lines and remember them better than I do.
Sorry it has to be like this. For you, for her.
I was in Walgreens a few months back, and I sensed this lady a little ways down the aisle, and she said, "You're that girl, aren't you, that was in Mommy Dearest?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she had tears in her eyes. And then I started filling up, talking about it now, and we just hugged each other. It was a very powerful film that did great things for people.
She always loved you.
I need to believe that.
I think if you like movie stars and if you like monster movies, then you can really have a good time with this because it's a little bit of a horror movie too, and it's like an opera almost.
Mommy.
It's so over the top in a way that really did happen, though. It may be an over-the-top story, but you feel as if her life was over the top. It wasn't exaggerating it, except for the rose garden.